Hi, I'm Chris, and this is the Deebot OZMO 920. It's a 360-degree laser mapping robot vacuum cleaner. It has been out for a while, so it's got an operation time of up to about 110 minutes. It also does mopping and vacuuming at the same time, so you don't have to just put up with only having, say, just mopping or then just vacuuming. No, it's able to do it combined. Application's got a lot of features in it. Now the suction power on this one I think is rated to about 1200 PA, which may seem a little bit low compared to some of the other ones that I have reviewed before, but in my testing and using this thing now for 4 days, it seems to do the exact kind of job cleaning compared to the others. Suction wise, the sweeper on the bottom is having no issues lifting up all the dirt. So it is double boxed. I've removed the first box and look at the padding around the sides of this. So really well protected for transit. You know what some of the courier drivers are like. They're very rough, so this thing should be fine. So that is the OZMO 920. I will look at that in detail shortly, of course. But here we have the microfiber mopping cloth. Okay, so you don't have to use this. You can use the disposable ones, which they do include. So 5 of the white disposable cloths here can be found inside this packet. And of course you can order from their website and online to get more of those. Under here we have our charging dock, which is right here. Okay, so it's going to need to go up close to this, in fact over that, with the 2 contacts right there to charge it. There's infrared in here, so it knows the distance. I'm going to show you a little bit of that later on when I actually test out the vacuum. And here is our cable, of course. So EU cable for me. And right here we do have 2 of our brushes. So there's going to be 1 either side, and they're color coded. So one is green, the other is red. Pretty straightforward. And accessories pack right here. So they do actually include 2 more brushes inside here. There's a quick start guide, and under here you will find an additional filter there as well. So with the underside of this one here, let me explain that it's very, very similar. They all have the same kind of basic design, don't they? All of the robot vacuums out there. So the 2 main feet, now these do have a good tread pattern on them. They're rubber and they are very good. They're suspended, of course, so adjusting to the various different heights and floors. And of course the main brush, this is very important. A lot of people don't realize how important this is, that this main brush should also be suspended, that it can move up and down about 1 centimeter, this one here, in fact over that, about 2 centimeters, which is great because this means it will adjust to the various different heights and the surfaces that are different. So you go from a matte to a hard floor, this can actually soak up and keep sweeping and sucking up all the dirt and whatever that's on the ground. Whereas I found with the Xiaomi that I reviewed last, it had a fixed main brush. It did not do very well, especially with carpets and mats that have slightly different heights. So it's good that it does have this. Now, maintenance-wise, very easy to just take that off, get in there, clean everything out. So we have the 2 side sweeping brushes, so they get into the corners, not quite 100% into the corner, but they'll do a good job. There's always going to be, when you have the right angles, that a little bit will still be trapped in the side. The 2 charging contacts right here. This is our 360-degree main wheel. So eventually here sometimes does actually get stuck on that one. You can remove it. It's easy to pop this out and give it a clean as well. And then we have all the down firing sensors. So all of these fall sensors on the side stop the vacuum from falling downstairs or something because it will detect there is an edge. And we have 6 of them in total right there. And just down the bottom, this is our water tank. So yes, it can vacuum and mop at the same time, which is good because other models out there, you would have to give up on the vacuuming ability just to mop. Now the capacity of this one is 240 milliliters of water that you place and put inside the storage unit here for our water tank. Now on the top, the OZMO 920. So I'm only reviewing, if I ever get a chance to get a free vacuum to review, it will only ever be the 360-degree mapping laser one. So that's the mapping unit right there. This is laser distance scanning. So as I said in my other videos before of reviewing some of the vacuums I've done, just avoid, like the plague, any of them that don't have this laser scanning because they just take so long, they slam and bounce off everything. So at the front is what they call the slam detector as well. So if it does happen to bump something, there's a sensor that triggers that and it knows. But there are scanners in the front there too as well, so it knows where it is. And of course the mapping is the main thing. So power on button is right here. So if you tap and hold for 3 seconds, returns to the dock to charge. If you just tap it, it then auto cleans and starts cleaning. And under here, of course, this is where you'll find our dustbin. So the dustbin capacity is 480 milliliters. And here we do have a manual on and off switch. And this is for connecting up to the wireless. QR code here with the application for scanning, getting connected, getting started. And then right here is your typical tool. So brush, and there's actually just a little tiny blade in this with inside. So that is used for just getting out here and just cleaning it. So our dustbin here, depending on how big your place is, I don't have a huge house, then you'd probably have to empty this probably about once a week. And of course, if you've got dogs, long-haired cat or something like that, then you'll be emptying it quite often. So right in here, there's a little tiny flap as well, just to keep that closed. And I like the fact that it does have a handle. It means it's quite easy to get this out of the vacuum itself. Now to remove these filters is very easy. So up here at the top, washable filter, there is some foam on the back just to stop any of the finer stuff, so building that up, and this of course all just comes out, so very easy to wash, and then washing that out to just put it out to dry. And you've got that spare filter as well that you can use while this one of course is drying. There's another tiny little filter inside there. This one is plastic, just to stop here and the main things from passing through to that, you could say, the second stage of filtration. A little bit of a seal around there as well, and opening it up is from the side, little red tab right here, so pressing that, it then opens up and you can just tip everything right out. So good build quality to this, and everything else just high quality plastics that they have used. So this is what our water tank looks like. The water goes in right there, very straightforward and easy to fill this up. Now you can adjust with the application the quantity of water that you want for certain areas. Here's a little valve here where it connects into the vacuum itself. So this vac doesn't have the pump in the actual water tank. The pump is located within the vacuum itself, which is a good thing. This means that this can get actually wet and you don't have to worry about damaging the pump. And it simply just locks into place here on the back of the vacuum. So you just slot it in and you will hear a click that it's in place and secured. So if you're using the washable mop or the disposable ones, it just clips it onto the back right here. And that water is actually squirted through these three little nozzles right here. You can see that there is a gap right here for those three little jets. So that squirts the water through, and then you just remove those. Velcro is holding it into place right there. So this one does have an application, of course. So you jump onto your Play Store or your App Store, download Ecovacs, and the setup of this one is very simple, but you do need to register. So within the app, you can take a look at your maps, you can save 2 different maps, you can set up the no-go zones, you can change and set the vacuum strength. So obviously more power means more noise. Maximum noise is about 66 decibels on the max mode. You can also set the mopping level, how much water it will use. You can schedule. And the best part is really, it's quite intuitive. It's very easy to use. And I find it's better than the Roborock app or the Xiaomi Mi Home app, that this one just seems to be a lot more, I feel, user-friendly. So overall, it does have a very good app and it is really useful. So what about vacuuming now? So just like the other laser mapping vacuums I have, this one will map out the whole room and then go around all the edges first. And then it fills in the blanks in the middle, so it just goes up and down. It gets in and around objects reasonably well. Sometimes it can get stuck a little bit in some areas, but it will back out and find a way to get out. So the other thing too to point out, that it did in my little test here when I just put down a lot of rice and seeds and pasta and everything else, that it would actually flick some of that away into other areas of the room that it had already passed. So the cleaning isn't 100% perfect as you do it yourself manually, but it did a very good job. When I took a look at the dustbin, there was probably about 95% of what I'd put down was collected. But here you can see just a few little bits, strays of seeds that were flicked away. And it's quite full, got most of it there and quite a bit of dust. It's cleaning about as good as my Roborock S5 Max. Now the mopping mode, very easy to just fill it full of water, clip it in place, it knows then it's in the mop mode. But the results of mopping on my tiles I find to be quite average. Now it's just basically like wiping a microfiber cloth over your tiles. It's not applying a huge amount of pressure. It's a very light clean, so with big stubborn spilt coffee stains or whatever, it won't actually be able to get rid of that. Now, of course, it can get tangled in cables and things like that, so you do need to prepare rooms. And here is a sample of just how loud this robot vacuum is.
I'm starting to charge. Please remove the cleaning cloth plate.
Okay, so the OZMO 920, it has been working away in this house, keeping it clean now for 4 days. I normally use my S5 Max. S5 Max has a faster suction power, faster motor. It's 2100 PA, this thing's about 1200 PA, but I'm not actually seeing any difference at all in the level of cleanliness, cleaning, and carpets and our mats seem to be exactly the same. It's lifting everything up. It's more the brush action, I think, is doing most of the work there. So the brush is still scooping everything up. Now, fine grits and everything in between carpet seems to be lifted up quite well, as I was showing you a little bit with just how it cleans. And because this is really important, that brush goes up and down on the bottom there, it means that it does get into those little grooves, those different areas where it's not 100% level, does a good job of that. Now, with the application, super straightforward, easy to use, lots of tips, great for beginners, I find, because of those tips it gives you. And because a lot of people don't know that you need to clean the area first, you need to remove bits and pieces. You realize that after you first use these anyway, that once they start sucking up toys and things. Now, the mopping is not great. The mopping is always the weakness of these particular mop ones because it basically applies no real pressure. It's like if I spilt coffee on my tiled floor, forgot to clean it, came back the next day, went to clean it, and all I did is just wiped it once with a cloth, it's not going to be clean. It's not going to remove it. These are exactly the same. They won't actually lift that off. It will still be there. Unless you put it on to go and mop twice, it might still leave it there. So really, it's more for maintaining floors looking clean, but getting rid of a stubborn spill on the floor or a stain, they won't be able to do it. You're still going to have to break out your mop. It's just like this brush here too. I find the brush design on this one to be a little old-fashioned now because it's the bristles. The newer models like my Roborock use a rubber designed brush that really scoops and pushes things into the middle brush. These ones can sometimes flick out debris, little tiny bits of grits of, say you've got crumbs somewhere, it's pushing it away a little bit, and that's just another area of minor, very minor criticism. So overall, it does a very good job, and I think most people that get this will absolutely love it. And battery life, so up to 110 minutes. My house isn't big enough to be able to actually test that out, but if you have a very large office or something you're using this to clean, it will end up, I think, it will just do the job. Of course, it's got to go back and charge, and then it'll come out and finish it off. So I couldn't test that here. So overall, I think the Deebot, a good vacuum. Make sure, of course, you get, if you're looking at vacuums, got to get the 360-degree laser mapping. It has it. Collision avoidance is good. It hasn't fallen downstairs or done anything stupid. Will it get tangled up? Of course it will. If you've got cables out, it's going to eat the cables. It's going to get stuck. But what can you expect from a robot vacuum? Thank you so much for watching this review. I hope I answered your questions on what you get, how it cleans, a little bit on the application, and you found it helpful.